Welcome to the Trusted Smart Chain Overview. My name is Travis Flaherty. I'm excited to be here with you as your host today to share our vision with you. Now, before we get started, I do want to just jump into a quick disclaimer. I am a co-founder of a company that is called ProsperLink, and ProsperLink holds the exclusive contract with the governing DAO for Trusted Smart Chain. A DAO, by the way, is a decentralized autonomous organization. That means that nobody owns Trusted Smart Chain. It is governed by a legal charter. You can actually go read that charter, and I encourage you to do so over at thenovadao.com, thenovadao.com. The information that I'm going to be sharing with you is for education and information purposes only. We're going to be talking about trust nodes. And nodes are essentially software licenses that support the operations of the Trusted Smart Chain. Nodes are not classified as investments. We don't make any guarantees of income or profits or financial returns of any kind. The analogy that I would give you is it's very similar to if you were to go to eBay today and order a Bitcoin miner. You can still do that. And once you receive that computer, it's hardware, essentially. In the old days, blockchains used hardware. Today, we use nodes. Blockchains use nodes because they're much more energy efficient. But you could go order a Bitcoin miner. Once it arrives at your house, once you activate it and connect it to the Bitcoin network, you can actually start earning Bitcoin every single day for your support of their network. Now, there's nobody that's there that's guaranteeing you an ROI. There's nobody that's guaranteeing you that Bitcoin will ever go up. You're doing so because you understand Bitcoin's tokenomics, you understand supply and demand, and if you decided to do that, you're doing so because you believe that the demand is going to continue to increase. In the same way here, we're not allowed to guarantee anything. However, you have an opportunity to be able to participate as a node operator and support the operations of the Trusted Smart Chain blockchain. So we're going to talk a little bit about utility and about demand today. Now, with that being said, I'm not a financial advisor. Nothing that I share with you should be construed as financial advice. The reason why we built Trusted Smart Chain was to bridge the gap between high valued assets and tokenization, which is a very big conversation today. There was a lack of regulation. There was a lack of clarity. There was a lack of framework. There was a lack of investor protection. Tokenization is a huge conversation. I would encourage you just to go Google tokenization of real world assets and see just how big this really is. JPMorgan's talking about it. Fidelity's talking about it. BlackRock is talking about it. Larry Fink was just in the media recently saying that tokenization is like a freight train that cannot be stopped. He went on to compare it to the internet, saying that this is not only the beginning, but it'll even be bigger than the internet itself. You've got the head of the SEC, Paul Atkins, that's saying that within the next 5 to 10 years, just about everything will be tokenized. So what is it? Tokenization is using blockchain technology to break down physical or digital assets into smaller tradable units, which makes ownership more accessible for the average everyday person. It makes it more secure and more transparent. We're seeing everything tokenized, from luxury hotels, even artwork, existing businesses, residential homes, commercial properties, oil and gas companies, just to name a few. To give you some perspective, 4 years ago, we saw about 2.6 billion in assets tokenized. This year, 500 billion. By the year 2030, we'll see anywhere from 16 trillion upwards to $100 trillion of real world assets tokenized. So the question is why? Simple answer is faster, it's cheaper, it's more efficient, it's more streamlined, and it's more cost effective and less risky for a company to use blockchain than some of the alternative options that they've used in the past, like, for example, going public. Going public, the cost of capital is about $5 million. It's extremely risky. You've got companies like BlackRock and Hindenburg that are shorting your stock. There's a lot of manipulation. And that's a very risky proposition if you're a small cap company that's looking to raise capital. So now we're seeing all of these companies that are looking towards blockchain because not only is it far less expensive, but the risks are far less than it would be otherwise. Now, on the flip side of the coin, that's very exciting for the average everyday investor because they now have a seat at the table. For example, if a company goes public, they do what's called a private offering first. And that private offering is aimed at the elite. It's aimed at the accredited investors. You've all heard the term, the rich get richer. In this scenario, through tokenization, the average everyday person now has a seat at the table. That means that not only can they go buy tokens that actually give them ownership in a high valued asset, they can actually participate in the capital raise and even earn dividends, getting quarterly distributions as well. Now, we have run into some serious challenges, and this is at the heart of why we built Trusted Smart Chain. There's a lack of clarity. The government has failed to provide any framework or investor protection. It's coming. We're seeing them come around. Finally, this year, we're starting to see the government get behind cryptocurrency. Earlier this year, they made it very clear that the United States would be the crypto capital of the world. We've come a long way from 4 or 5 years ago where the government was essentially declaring war against cryptocurrency. We had a big battle with the SEC. We won that battle. As a result of that, we ultimately learned a lot, and that's largely why we built the framework that you're going to be hearing about today. But we've come a long way. And now you're seeing cryptocurrency in the media every single day. Banks are adopting cryptocurrency. They can now be custodians over your crypto. They can sell you cryptocurrency. It's being integrated into your mutual funds and your 401ks, just to name a few. But there have been some challenges in the past. And so we looked at these challenges and ultimately developed a universally accepted framework for tokenization. Let me be clear about this. So tokenization represents cryptocurrency growing up. Instead of going and buying all these speculative junk coins and meme coins with no intrinsic value, you can now go buy tokens like you can buy stock, right? You're buying tokens that give you ownership in a high valued asset. But here's the problem. There's nothing that's there that requires these assets to even go get an audit up front, much less tie the physical asset to the digital tokens that they're selling you. Does anybody think there's a problem with that? That's a huge issue. Unless the real world asset is willing to tie the physical asset to the digital assets through a regulated process, tying it through a smart contract, all they have is clever marketing dollars. And that's what we've seen up to this point. And that's a huge problem. So what we are doing now is setting the standard for compliance and transparency and trust in tokenization. We're doing that by first and foremost only working with real existing businesses. We're not interested in speculative projects. That's where all the fraud exists. That's where all the rug pulls exist. But there's a lot of really good companies out there with assets that are cash flowing that want to raise capital, and we're helping them do it. We're also requiring that they actually go register as an investment with the Security Exchange Commission. Why? Because now it forces the independent audit. Now it forces them to tie their physical asset to the digital tokens in a regulatory process. And it might surprise you to learn this, but we are the first in the world to implement these standards. It's the reason why we were recognized as Blockchain of the Year in Washington, D.C., because of our contributions and impact in this industry. Now, this is not a capital raise. We have a layer one blockchain. It's fully functional. We have 31,000 nodes that are currently supporting our network all around the world. We have 12 real world assets that are already in process of utilizing the trusted smart chain. When I say in process, they're either A, in the process of getting their audit, B, they're getting ready to file with the Security Exchange Commission, or C, they've already been approved and they're getting ready to open up their capital raise. Average value of the companies that's coming onto our blockchain is $50 million. We have built one of the most esteemed blockchain communities in the world. Many of those members of that community are here today. It's called the Trusted Society. It was designed to educate our node operators, to help them have more competence and overall confidence in the blockchain and cryptocurrency space. We had the genesis of our blockchain in March of this year. That means that's when the token distribution started. Our token is listed over at t7x.io, which is a digital trading platform. People are buying and selling the token every single day. We kicked off our belief building initiative earlier this year, which means that we operate from a place of transparency. Our node operators have full access to the founders, to the development team, to the node, to the real world asset managers that are tokenizing on our blockchain. We do that through a series of virtual events, social communities, and even on in-person events. We've held 9 events this year alone at our beautiful offices in Irvine. We've held it in our office in Florida. We've held them at our real world asset sites. For example, we have luxury hotels that are tokenizing with us down in Tulum. So we held a beautiful event down there for all of our node operators where they had a chance to come, meet the founders, listen to the real world asset managers, listen to the billionaire that owns the hotels, talk about why he's tokenizing, why he chose Trusted Smart Chain. Our goal is to do about 10 to 12 real world assets the first year. We already have those coming on board, 20 to 30 the second year, 100 by year 3. And you're going to see in a moment where as each real world asset comes onto the blockchain, it increases the demand for the Trusted Smart Chain token, which is the same token that our node operators are earning every day. We also kicked off, we launched our own decentralized self-custody wallet. That wallet is tied directly to your node. So when you earn your daily distributions, they go directly into your wallet, and you are the only person that holds the keys to that wallet. All of this can be verified by going to our blockchain explorer. Just go to explorer.trustedsmartchain.com. You can see the token listing. You can see the amount of tokens that have been minted so far this year. You can see how many of those tokens have been staked by our node operators. You can see the blocks that have been written on our blockchain. You can see the transactions that are happening in real time. Bitcoin has bscscan.com. Ethereum has etherscan.com. This is the validation of our blockchain. Now, I want to talk a little bit about utility for a moment and demand for the trusted smart chain. If you think about Bitcoin, why did Bitcoin go to a new all-time high of 125,000 this year? Why did Bitcoin 16 years ago was only worth less than a penny continue to climb over and over and over? The reason is because of supply and demand. And a lot of times demand usually is false. It comes from hype and speculation in this industry. You get a lot of projects, they go hire a celebrity, the celebrity goes out, creates a bunch of hype to try and drive the people to buy it. The buying drives the price up. And then the owners, the celebrities that started the project, they go and sell all their token because they did an initial coin offering and the bottom falls out. We call it a rug pull, right? In those scenarios, somebody has to lose $1 million for somebody to earn $1 million. On the other hand, you have real utility, real case use projects that those tokens actually have a use in society in some way. Some of those projects include Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, XRP, Hedera, HBAR. These are all considered utility tokens. Ironically, Bitcoin started off as a speculative token. People just bought it hoping to get lucky. They didn't even understand it or there was no use for it. Today, it's being accepted widely, even by our own governments. And people have figured out that it was outperforming every asset class on the planet over the last 10 years. It's held value in the last 5 years way better than the dollar. The dollar's down 25%. Bitcoin's up 900%. So people are now buying it because they actually see real world value, stored value. So I want to talk a little bit about the Trusted Smart Chain utility. So what we did is we formed a grant. We take 25% of our node sales, which amounts to hundreds of millions of dollars by the time that we will have sold out on our nodes. And we actually support technology companies that are tokenizing real world assets. For example, T7X is one of our grant recipients. We donate to T7X to help them go bring real world assets onto their exchange. They are an exchange, a licensed digital asset platform. The reason why we help them to go get those real world assets is because they've chosen Trusted Smart Chain as their infrastructure. They've also chosen Trusted Smart Chain as their preferred token of choice. So to give you an example, why is Ethereum the second largest project in the world? Very simple. They're a blockchain. They have thousands of coins that are built on or live on their blockchain. If you want to go buy any of those tokens, guess what you have to go buy first? Ethereum. Same over on Binance. If you want to go participate in any of the projects that live on the Binance blockchain, you have to go buy their native token. It's called BNB. BNB just became the third largest market cap in the world. We're doing the exact same thing with T7X, who is licensed in 7 continents around the world. But what's cool about T7X is they're only listing tokens that are actual registered investments. Now, these registered investments are utilizing, in most cases, Reg A. Why? Because once they file with the SEC and get cleared, they can go and raise capital. We don't get involved in any of this. They can go and raise capital. They can solicit to accredited and non-accredited investors. Well, the beautiful thing is all of those investors all over the world that go create an account at T7X, they got to buy Trusted Smart Chain token. That creates demand and utility the same way that Ethereum or BNB is used, which took them to the second and third largest projects in the world. To give you an example of how that all works, T7X is an exchange. They're listing real-world asset projects, Tulum Coin, luxury hotels in Tulum, Grow Estate, medical grade hemp facilities, White Claw Crude, oil and gas company. All of these projects are being listed on T7X, but they all have to live on a blockchain. Every coin has to live on a blockchain. In this case, they all live on the Trusted Smart Chain blockchain. Now, why is that such a big deal? Well, first of all, again, what is a blockchain? It's nothing more than a network of nodes, a decentralized network of nodes that operate kind of like cell towers. They work together to validate transactions, maintain the network, create a secure and resilient system. Well, the cool thing is, just like the people that mined Bitcoin in the early days, they supported the Bitcoin network, you can now go buy a license to operate a Trusted Smart Chain node And in return, you earn the blockchain's native token, which is Trusted Smart Chain Token. Now, again, why is Bitcoin worth $125,000? It's supply and demand. So I want to make sure you understand where the actual demand is coming from. With every real world asset that comes onto our blockchain, it increases the overall demand for the Trusted Smart Chain Token. We've already talked about the gas fees on T7X. Any single investor that comes onto the T7X digital trading platform has to buy Trusted Smart Chain first before they participate in any of those real world asset investment opportunities. Why? Because they got to pay the transaction fees with Trusted Smart Chain Token. Now, I want to talk about the RWA distributions paid in TSC. So the real world asset managers, let's say the guy that owns the luxury hotels in Tulum, he's going to go file a Reg A with the SEC. Once the SEC clears, he can open up his capital raise. He has 12 months to go and raise capital. He'll usually partner with a media company. They'll go out and advertise his opportunity all over the world. And investors will come in. And anybody that invests during that capital raise, that comes and buys tokens and invests, they're now entitled to a 10% distribution. So every quarter, he has to pay those dividends, those distributions to those investors. They're paying out about 10% on average. So think about this. Our sweet spot is a $50 million company that's wanting to raise capital. And if they're paying out 10%, that means they're paying out $5 million a year to their investors. Well, multiply that times 100 real world assets, which is our goal in the first 3 years. That's $500 million a year that they're paying out. What if I told you that they have to pay it in Trusted Smart Chain Token? That means the real world asset managers have to take their fiat currency, go to the open market, and buy Trusted Smart Chain Token before they pay their investors. That's 100 real world assets. It's a $500 million a year annual demand. That's $1.4 million a day in buying pressure for the tokens. And the question is, who are they buying those tokens from? Who's holding the tokens? Joanne is, Rhonda is, Joseph is, all the node operators, and they get to decide when they want to sell. Now, Joanne might go, you know what? I'm not going to sell at this price. I'm going to hold on for a couple more years. I'm going to just keep holding them because more real world assets come and more the demand for the tokens I have. Now, you know what? Rhonda might go, I'm pretty pleased with where the price is right now. I'm going to sell and I'm going to take some profits. She can do that. No different than if you were mining Bitcoin in 2009, you were supporting the Bitcoin network, 2010, 2011, and you were earning all these Bitcoin. You could have sold when Bitcoin hit $100. Some people did. They thought they were geniuses until it hit 1,000. Then those people sold, and then they thought they were geniuses until it hit 10,000, 50,000, or 100,000. What drove the price? Just demand. I don't care what asset it is. Whenever there is an increased demand, especially when you have a diminishing supply, there's scarcity because there's a fixed supply design. The end result, doesn't matter what asset it is always value. What we are showing you today is where the demand comes from. Now, if you couple that with the overall supply, you have Trusted Smart Chain Token that is only minting 21 million token. I want you to think about this for a moment. Bitcoin did two things that were genius. They came out and said, we're only going to mint 21 million token. That's it. That fixed supply design created a unique store of value and an appreciating asset. The second thing they did is they said, we're going to have a halving event every 4 years. You know what we're going to do? Every 4 years, we're going to cut in half the amount of token that we're releasing to the node operators, which ultimately goes into circulation. So now, what happens when you have a growing demand and a diminishing supply of the asset? Well, in Bitcoin's case, you have a $125,000 token at an all-time high. And many believe as Bitcoin continues to become more and more scarce, you're going to continue to see that value going up and up and up and up and up. So we looked at their tokenomics and said, we're going to do the same thing. Why would we change it? There's going to be 21 million total supply of Trusted Smart Chain Token. That means, and by the way, a lot of people don't realize this, 10.5 million token or 10.5 million Bitcoin were minted in the first 4 years. Do you guys realize that 50% of all the Bitcoin that'll ever be minted went out in the first 4 years to the people that were supporting the network? Can you imagine how lucky those people were? If you could go back to 2009 to 2013, knowing what you know today, would you have operated as many nodes as you could to earn as much Bitcoin as you possibly could? Of course you would. Here's the problem. You can go buy a Bitcoin miner today, but you can't go back to 2009 to 2013 when distribution was at its highest. That was 2.6 million token per year going out. That was 7,191 token a day. Well, guess what? Where we are right now is exactly where Bitcoin was in 2009 with our distribution. And the beautiful thing is that's governed by a smart contract. It can't be changed. It can't be altered. It's programmed into the algorithm. After 4 years, we have a halving. By the way, after every halving event, if you go back and look up historically, after every halving event that Bitcoin has had, it's hit a new all-time high. Why? Scarcity. So where we are right now is we are minting 2.6 million a year. We're about 9 months into the first year. We won't have a halving event for about 3 more years. That's 7,191 tokens a day that go out to our node operators. You want to hear something else that's really cool? There's millions of people on the Bitcoin network right now that are competing for about 450 Bitcoin that are minted a day. There's only 31,000 total node operators on the Trusted Smart Chain network right now. And the most nodes that we will sell is 200,000. That is in our charter. That means there's a much smaller community to be able to divide those reward up amongst than even Bitcoin. So let's talk a little bit about what it means to become a node operator. We'll wrap it up. So first of all, people ask me, do I need to be technical? No, because your node is doing all the technical work. It's validating the transactions. It's maintaining the trusted smart chain security. It's adding blocks to the blockchain. It's supporting the smart contracts for all of those real world assets that are coming onto our blockchain. And it's ensuring the integrity of the blockchain data. You get an annual membership when you buy a node in the Trusted Society, which gives you access to all of our social communities, all of our RWA. We do on-site visits. You get to learn about those RWAs. You get access to our referral program if you want to, and essentially one of the most esteemed blockchain communities in the world. Nodes are priced at $3,600 currently right now. I say currently because every 1,000 nodes that sell, price goes up $100. So when we sell through this block of 1,000, well, then it'll go up to 3,700 and so forth. And it'll continue until we hit about $10,000 per node. Once we hit 10,000, that's the ceiling. It'll cap out and it'll stay there until the nodes completely sell out. Now, when you buy a node, you get your software and your activation. You start earning your daily digital rewards. As long as your node is active, you'll continue to receive those rewards. You become a stakeholder in the DAO, which means you now get voting rights. Every node you operate, you get a vote. And you get access to all of our social communities and invites to all of our owners' events. Our next owner event, by the way, is in Scottsdale, Arizona on the 16th and 17th. You can come out, meet the founders, the development team. You get to meet the real world asset managers will be there. It's a great opportunity to really learn about what it is that we're building here. Now, we have different statuses within our community. Some people operate more than one node, so you can operate 5 nodes, which puts you at the prestige status. That means that you would be receiving 5 times the distribution. So if one node was distributing 0.20 token per day, and I had 5, I would now be earning 1 full token every single day. So 5 nodes, prestige level gives you 5 times the distribution. The next level is our legacy level with 20 nodes, which is 20 times the distribution. Then we have the next level at luminary, which is 50 nodes, 50 times the distribution. By the way, that also means 50 votes in the DAO. And then we have our titans, 100 nodes, 100 times the distribution. By the way, we have hundreds of luminaries and titans within our community. And then we have our icon level, which is the highest level, 1,000 nodes. Yes, you would get 1,000 times the distribution. So you're earning a lot of trusted smart chain every single day. That's the most that we will sell one person because we want to maintain decentralization. We don't want any one entity person to come in like BlackRock and essentially just control the overall ecosystem. And even at this level, that person has to align with the blockchain Senate's vision and mission. So they would have to be voted in unanimously by the blockchain Senate. In closing, I'll just say this. I like infrastructure plays. I believe that smart money invests in the roads before the rush. I look at the gold rush, for example. People that were coming out west. It wasn't the people that were looking for gold that got wealthy. Maybe a few did, but the most people that got wealthy were the people that owned the land and they built the rails so that the people could come out west. It was the people that sold the shovels and the picks for people to go out and try to find their riches. Those were the ones that really made the money. I think about the early internet days, Amazon, Jeff Bezos and Mark Zuckerberg with Facebook, right? They built the infrastructure so all the users could come. Guys, that's what we're doing. This is not some meme coin. This is not some speculative coin that has no intrinsic value. We are the blockchain of this era. And the beautiful thing is, we are the roads. What's the rush? The $16 trillion of real world assets that's going to be tokenizing. And what makes up the road is our node operators who are earning trusted smart chain token every day for the support of this blockchain. And the beautiful thing is, that's the same tokens that our real world asset managers are required to buy to pay their distributions. It's also the same tokens that the investors are required to buy to participate in all of the real world asset projects that are built on the T7X digital trading platform. So I want to say thank you very much for being here. I got it done in 30 minutes, which I'm excited about, by the way. So I'm going to encourage you to get back to the person that shared this presentation with you. They'll be able to answer any more questions you have. We have a wonderful reference guide. You can ask them for it. They can send it to you. That'll give you some great homework where you can go and research our charter. You can go research the Explorer. All of the links are on that reference guide. So definitely be sure to request that. Go over to our YouTube channel. A lot of great information over there. And if you happen to be watching this before the holidays, keep in mind we do have a holiday promotion running right now on all of our bundles. So be sure to ask whoever invited you here about those bundles. You can save some good money on the 5-packs all the way up to the 100-packs. Also, it's the end of the year. Take into consideration, I'm not giving tax advice, but we do have a lot of members of this community that do utilize Section 179 of the tax code, which clearly states that you can write off software as a business expense. Now, again, I'm not giving tax advice, but what I will tell you personally is I've written off all of my nodes for over 10 years. And of course, at the end of the year, some people are thinking about offsetting some of the income they might have brought in, or maybe even capital gains. We have a lot of people in our community that utilize Section 179 to do that. So be sure to consult with your tax attorney or your CPA about that as well. With that, thank you guys so much for tuning in today.